Let me tell you something. They love to make things look difficult. They take a simple test, a test anyone with focus and confidence can pass, and they turn it into a mountain. But that's what happens when people can't stand the idea of someone actually winning. They don't like success, they don't like strength, and they sure don't like confidence. Because confidence exposes weakness. And when you're confident, you're not just taking a test, you're taking command. This so-called IQ test was never about intelligence, it was about attitude. It's about showing that when you believe in yourself, no challenge is too big. You can have the biggest experts in the room, the highest titles, the loudest critics, and still the one who stays calm, sharp, and focused walks away as the winner. That's real power. The truth is, anyone can pass life's tests if they approach them like a champion. You've got to look at the challenge and say, I've got this. You've got to know that you're smarter than the noise, stronger than the doubt, and bigger than the fear, because every great victory starts in the mind. When you think like a winner, you begin to live like one. And let's be honest, the world doesn't reward excuses, it rewards results. Nobody remembers who complained, they remember who conquered. So when people try to test you, don't be afraid. Let them, show them what focus, determination, and belief can do. Pass the test, not because you need to prove them wrong, but because you know you're right. Remember this, real intelligence isn't memorizing answers, it's mastering yourself. It's knowing your worth, your power, your purpose. And when you walk through life with that kind of certainty, every test becomes easy, every critic becomes irrelevant, and every moment becomes a chance to win. That's what greatness looks like. Confidence beats complexity every single time, because confidence is what drives clarity, action, and results. People love to make things complicated. They use big words, complex ideas, and endless explanations just to sound smart. But the truth is, real intelligence is not about confusion, it's about control. The person who walks in with confidence, even if they don't have every answer, commands the room. Because when you believe in yourself, the world starts to believe in you too. Confidence cuts through the noise. It doesn't need permission, it doesn't need validation, it simply says, I can do this. And that energy is unstoppable. There are always people who try to make success seem like a puzzle only they can solve. They act like it's too hard, too complex, too big for anyone else. When you have confidence, you turn mountains into steps. You take what others call impossible and make it happen because you don't overthink. You act. Confidence gives you the power to move fast, decide boldly, and stand tall even when others doubt you. It's not arrogance, it's certainty. The certainty that you can handle whatever comes your. The world rewards those who move with conviction. When you speak with confidence, people listen. When you lead with strength, people follow. You don't need to know every detail. You need to trust your ability to figure it out. Confidence is that voice inside you that says, I've got this, even when things look uncertain. And every time you choose confidence over fear, you grow stronger. You learn faster, you perform better, and you inspire others to do the same. Complexity slows people down. Confidence speeds them up. The great ones don't waste time trying to impress. They focus on progress. They make tough things simple, not by luck, but by belief. Because belief creates focus, and focus creates mastery. So when life throws you a challenge, don't hide behind excuses or overthinking. Stand up, look straight ahead, and take action. Confidence will carry you further than any theory, any strategy, or any test ever could. This secret weapon that separates those who dream from those who achieve. In the end, it's not the smartest who win, it's the most certain. They will doubt you, mock you, and laugh at you until the moment you start winning, and then they will pretend they always believed in you. That's how the world works. People can't stand seeing someone rise higher than their expectations. They'll call you lucky. They'll say you're not qualified. They'll question your every move. But deep down, it's not you they're doubting. It's themselves. Your confidence reminds them of what they're afraid to chase. Your ambition exposes their comfort zone. And that's why they attack. Because your progress makes them face their own hesitation. But winners don't waste energy explaining. Winners prove it by doing what others said couldn't be done. Every successful person in history was doubted before they were celebrated. They said it was impossible, too risky, too ambitious. But that's exactly why it had to be done. The world doesn't remember the critics, it remembers the champions who kept going. Doubt is just fuel in disguise. Every time someone says you can't, it's a challenge to show that you can. Every time they laugh, it's a signal that you're onto something big. Let them doubt you. It's part of the process. Because when the victory comes, their words will turn into silence. And your success will do all the talking. The hardest part is not facing failure. It's facing disbelief. You'll lose friends. You'll face rejection. You'll feel alone. But that's when the fire inside you must burn brighter. You've got to keep showing up, working harder, staying focused, and believing when no one else does, because the moment you stop, believing is the moment they win. Keep your eyes on the goal, not the noise. The noise disappears when results appear. One day, the same people who doubted you will tell your story as if they were part of it. They'll say they saw your potential all along. Smile and keep going because you didn't do it for them. You did for yourself, for the vision they couldn't see. The path to greatness always starts with doubt and ends with applause, so let them talk, let them laugh, let them question. You just keep moving forward, because once you win, they won't doubt you. They'll follow you. Success has never been about who talks the most or who sounds the smartest. It's about who stays focused when everyone else gets distracted. You can have the biggest vocabulary, the flashiest slogans, and the longest speeches, but none of that builds results. The real winners are the ones who stay locked in, who ignore the noise, and who move with purpose while others waste time trying to look impressive. Focus is the real power. It's quiet, it's disciplined, and it gets things done. People love to talk big, but very few can stay consistent. Very few can show up every day, do the work, and keep their eyes on the mission. That's what separates the dreamers from the doers. There's always someone trying to sound more elegant, trying to use complicated language to prove they're important. But you can't talk your way to the top, you work your way there. Success demands concentration. It demands the ability to cut through confusion and zero in on what actually matters. The person who can block out the distractions, the critics, and the endless opinions is the one who wins in the end. You don't have to say much when your results speak louder than words. People respect consistency, not vocabulary. Focus is what gives your actions meaning. It turns small steps into big achievements. It builds momentum, and momentum builds success. Every moment you spend explaining yourself or trying to impress others is a moment taken away from progress. The great ones know when to stay silent, when to listen, and when to strike. They don't need approval, they need results. And that's exactly why they get them. So stop worrying about sounding perfect or looking polished. Speak less and do more. Let your achievements make the noise. The world is full of talkers who never finish anything, but it only remembers the doers who deliver. When you focus your energy, when you protect your attention, when you put all your strength into the goal, you become unstoppable. Success doesn't come from fancy words. It comes from clear vision, relentless effort, and the refusal to quit until the job is done. That's the kind of power no one can fake. And that's the kind of focus that builds legends. Talk is easy. Anyone can promise the world, but only a few have the courage to prove it through action. Words don't build dreams, actions do. You can make 1,000 speeches, post all the right quotes, and tell everyone what you're going to do, but if you never move, it means nothing. The real proof of strength, of intelligence, of greatness is found in what you do when no one is watching. Every step you take, every risk you face, every decision you make in silence, that's what builds your legacy. Action is the langu. age of winners. It's the difference between those who say they will and those who actually do. People love to talk about their goals, their plans, their vision. But the world doesn't listen to words for long. It watches what you do. It waits for you to deliver. The moment you take real action, everything changes. Doubters go quiet, critics fade, and results speak louder than anything you could ever say. Action is what separates the dreamers from the achievers. Because when you take action, you prove your belief. You show that you're not waiting for permission or perfect timing. You're creating your own path. Where true power begins, the most successful people never waste time trying to convince others. They're capable. They prove it with consistency. Day after day, they show up. They do the work. They keep pushing forward even when it's hard. They know that progress doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's quiet, but every move counts. Every small act, builds momentum. And that momentum creates results that no one can deny. So when someone doubts you, don't argue, don't explain, don't defend. Let your actions answer for you. When you keep working, when you stay disciplined, when you turn your words into results, you don't need to prove anything. The evidence speaks for itself. Success doesn't come to those who talk the loudest. It comes to those who act the boldest. Every goal you achieve, every barrier you break, every victory you earn is living proof that you believed enough to act. Because in the end, it's not your promises that define you, your performance.